The United States Navy hasn't lost a carrier in combat since 1945. Iran's Fatah hypersonic missile travels at Mach 12, giving a carrier's defense grid barely 30 seconds to respond. Now imagine 300 drones arriving right behind it. When Iran retaliates against the United States, the next few hours don't just reshape the Middle East. They rewrite the rules of naval warfare. And it all starts with a single launch. A single Fatah hypersonic missile arcs skyward from a camouflage silo near Parchin, its solid fuel booster igniting with a flare visible from orbit. The space-based infrared system, SBIRS, registers the heat signature within 15 seconds. In a secure compartment deep inside the USS Abraham Lincoln, the Combat Information Center receives the alert, a hypersonic inbound closing at nearly 4 kilometers per second. There is no time for debate. The Aegis radar suite, and Spy-1DV, refines the track, confirming a Mach 12 vehicle on a shallow trajectory. Range now inside 1,200 kilometers. The operations officer calls out the threat vector. On the bridge, the captain authorizes full defensive protocol, voice clipped, eyes fixed on the tactical display. Within 8 seconds, the destroyer USS John Paul Jones, positioned on the carrier's port quarter, receives the fire control solution, an SM-6 Block 1. A missile erupts from its vertical launch cell, climbing to intercept. The missile's data link updates stream in real time, guiding it toward a re-entry vehicle that can maneuver at up to 15 G. At the same moment, the ship's electronic warfare team preps the Helios laser, but its megawatt class beam is still in low-rate production, available only on select escort ships, not the carrier herself. The carrier's own defenses, evolved Sea Sparrow and Sea Ram, are optimized for subsonic threats, not a hypersonic dart. 25 seconds after launch, the Fatah begins its terminal dive, using 4 steering fins to jink unpredictably. The SM-6 closes, detonating at 30 kilometers altitude. Radar confirms a kinetic intercept, but the debris cone passes within 100 meters of the Lincoln's flight deck. In the Combat Information Center, the watch officer orders a full damage control standby. Bulkheads seal, fire suppression teams deploy, and the nuclear reactor's safety scram protocol is armed. One wrong impact, and the ship must shut down propulsion to prevent meltdown. The all-clear comes 60 seconds later. The carrier remains afloat, but the crew has lived through 30 seconds where every action, every decision has to be perfect. The lesson is clear, with a circular error probable of just 10 to 25 meters and a sensor-to-shooter chain measured in heartbeats. The margin for error is vanishingly thin. The next threat may not be a single missile. 300 drones lift off almost in unison from Iran's coastal batteries and disguised merchant vessels in the Gulf. The swarm is a layered mix. Shahed 136 loitering munitions, Quads 2 tactical unmanned aerial vehicles carrying jammers, and Sayad 3G anti-ship missiles, each releasing clusters of micro-drones mid-flight. Within seconds, the USS Gerald R. Ford's escort destroyers detect over 1,500 radar tracks, a volume that dwarfs any previous engagement. Inside the Ford's Combat Information Center, the radar team watches as the AN/SPI-7 array floods their screens with contacts. The digital horizon is now a dense cloud of red. The AI-driven drone identification suite, a DIS, kicks in. Its neural network, trained on thousands of Iranian drone signatures, sorts and ranks threats by flight profile and speed. The human oversight officer standing behind the console sees the AI's prioritization cascade across the tactical display. High-value loitering munitions flagged for immediate kinetic response, decoys and jammers assigned to the new laser grid. The prioritization logic tree locks in, issuing engagement orders in less than 2 seconds. That is far faster than any human could process. The Ford's layered defense comes alive. 4 megawatt-class lasers sweep the sky, targeting the densest clusters. Each beam disables guidance electronics on dozens of drones at once, soft-killing targets before they can dive. At the same time, the escorting destroyers volley RIM 162 ESSM and SM-2 interceptors, their vertical launch cells cycling as quickly as reloads allow. Automated Sea Ram turrets stand ready at the 5-kilometer perimeter, their radar searching for anything that slips through the outer layers. Within minutes, the Combat Information Center's AI logs hundreds of kills, but the volume does not let up. The radar team's workload surges as the swarm splits, some drones dropping to sea skimming altitude, others climbing to confuse tracking algorithms. The AI's decision threshold approaches its programmed maximum. If the contact rate rises any further, it will begin to automate even the final shoot-no-shoot calls, bypassing human confirmation to keep pace with the threat. As the last wave closes, several drones breach the 5-kilometer zone. CRAM batteries open fire, their bursts stitching the water and sky. The Ford's crew braces for impact, knowing that even one drone slipping through could cripple flight operations. The operational hangover is immediate. Intercepted debris rains onto the deck, and every system is pushed to its limits. For the radar team and AI oversight officer, the lesson is stark against a massed drone attack. Survival depends on trusting automation, accepting that the margin for error is measured not in minutes, but in milliseconds. Al Udeid in Qatar and Al Dhafra in the UAE stand as the backbone of US air power in the Gulf. On a clear night, a sudden spike on the SBIRS satellite feed signals an Iranian hypersonic launch, then another. Both missiles arc low over the Gulf, closing fast. Within 45 seconds, the ANTPY-2 radar at Al Udeid locks on, sending threat data to Patriot PAC-3 crews. Colonel Ramirez, the base commander, issues orders without hesitation. The incoming speed, nearly 4 kilometers per second, leaves little margin. 7 minutes until impact. The base is already at its highest alert. PAC-3 launchers swing into position, guided by the radar's rapid cueing. The odds of intercept are a hard 60%, barely better than chance against a missile that can maneuver in its final seconds. In a window measured in heartbeats, the Joint Cyber Cell, a team of Air Force and NSA specialists, launches a cyber attack on Iranian command links, hoping to disrupt follow-on salvos. Above, F-15E aircraft scramble, engines screaming, ready to intercept any low-flying cruise missiles that might ride in behind the hypersonics. The first missile closes, the Patriot battery fires. Radar tracks the intercept, but the warhead jinks hard. A flash on the horizon marks a kinetic kill, the first threat destroyed at altitude. The second missile splits its path, evading the first defense. The secondary battery launches, but the window is razor thin. The warhead detonates above the runway, sending a shockwave across the tarmac. Blackout protocols snap into place. Generators kick in as runway lights vanish, and the control tower shifts to backup communications. In the bunker, CENTCOM's operations chief orders a rapid assessment. Engineers report a quarter of the main runway damaged, enough to halt sorties for an hour. The 6-hour playbook begins. Tomahawk missiles are retargeted, cyber teams escalate. Every move balances deterrence with restraint. The blackout draws Israeli attention, raising the stakes for CENTCOM and sharpening the urgency to restore operations before the region tips further toward crisis. Warning sirens blare across central Israel as radar crews at Palmachim scramble to interpret the latest trajectory plots. The Arrow 3 battery, already tracking a high-speed object above the Negev, cues its interceptors for launch. The incoming signature is unmistakable, a maneuvering hypersonic re-entry vehicle, likely a Fatah or Shahab 12 closing from the east at over Mach 12. Commanders in the Israeli Missile Defense Command War Room issue the order Arrow 3 launches, followed seconds later by a battery from David's sling. Each missile climbs, guided by real-time telemetry, racing to intercept a warhead capable of shifting course at 15 G. The first Arrow 3 detonates above 100 kilometers, its kill vehicle slamming into empty sky. The Iranian missile jinks, dropping altitude and accelerating toward the coastal plain. David's sling responds, burning toward the target, but the hypersonic payload executes a final skip-glide maneuver, evading the intercept by meters. Within the next 5 seconds, the Sky Hunter prototype is activated, a kinetic kill vehicle designed for a reaction window no longer than a heartbeat. Operators brace as the system's AI crunches sensor data and launches the interceptor. The missile streaks upward, aiming for a direct collision, but the margin is razor thin. Analysts have warned that against a maneuvering MARV, even this layered defense cannot guarantee success. Statistical models suggest a 30 to 40% risk that at least one warhead will leak through, especially in a massed salvo. The Sky Hunter's reaction time is claimed at 5 seconds, but its operational record is unproven. As the countdown reaches 0, the political duty officer at the Ministry of Defense faces the hardest call, whether to authorize a retaliatory strike if any impact occurs within a civilian area. The tension in the war room is palpable. Every second brings the possibility of disaster. The fate of Tel Aviv or Haifa may rest on the performance of a single interceptor, the resolve of a single decision-maker, and a chain of events set in motion far beyond Israel's borders. Right now, every hypersonic test and drone deployment redraws the rules of engagement in real time. Deterrence is measured in seconds, not weeks. As new weapons close the gap between warning and impact, escalation becomes a race against uncertainty, and the next move is never just hypothetical.